Alright guys, it's Carl from Monkey Mod. So I'm going to show you guys how to disassemble the XYL or the Little Moon ARP9 and take a look on the inside of the gearbox. Right, let's get started. With the upper receiver removed, we have the gearbox now exposed. It's in red color. Now this is the inner barrel. See, oh, it's not even glued. It is exactly 13 cm. So with this not being glued in, now you can actually easily replace the inner barrel with a longer one, and then you can attach whatever suppressor, a longer inner barrel, and to go with the pop-up, etc. Right, so no problem there. And a stabilizing spring. Now to remove the handguard, I've already shown you guys how to do it, but I'm going to take this three screw off to show you that one is pointing points of the ARP9 from XYL is that this top receiver is actually 3-piece, which means like this 2-piece is actually splittable. It's not one piece. Yep. So it is actually splittable. Not so good in my opinion, but well, it is what it is. Please be informed that you can't actually install or remove the handguard without taking the top rail off because of these tabs here. Right, we'll move on with continuing to disassemble the gearbox. Right, so we will now disassemble the buffer tube first. Now, one thing unusual about the XYL ARP9 is that the screw that tightens and locks the buffer tube to the receiver is not actually a Phillips or flat type screw. Instead, it is a Allen key screw. I don't think you can see it, but yeah. So you need to have Allen key, 5mm Allen key to get access and remove it. So I have this one here that is barely long enough to reach it. So yeah, probably need the better tools and need to get yourself one of these if you want to disassemble the ARP9. Alright guys, that took quite a while. Okay, so this is the Allen screw. Yep, it's pretty short and yeah, it looks proprietary. You can't really replace this screw with the standard type of the screw for the buffer tube. So yeah, get yourself one of these. So with the buffer tube removed, now you can see the electronic chips here, the MOSFET. It is wrapped with heat shrink, so should be alright protecting the electronics on the IC chips here. Right, I'm going to remove the battery, the auto grip here. The motor grip cover is made of metal. There is an adjustable screw here, Allen key style as well. This is the motor, 480 type long shaft with some cuts out here for better heat dissipations. But I did notice some of my friends or customer complain that the grip does get heats up rather fast. One of the reasons is probably because of the heat dissipating cuts out here. And this is the grip, is how to the gearbox with this type of a screw, 4 pieces of them. 3 of them still remains on the grate. Now we are down to the lower receiver and the gearbox. Now I'm going to remove the pin here and the pin here. That's pretty interesting. The pin that locks the gearbox to the receiver, usually on the typical M4 there is it should be a one-way pin where one side is larger with the frictions part, but on the ARP9 it is smooth on both sides, so I suppose you can actually punch or insert the pin to the receiver and on either side. Now with this 2 pin removed, I should be able to remove the gearbox from the lower receiver. Let's see. Alright, so that's the gearbox out. Now let's take a close look at the lower receiver. Pretty good quality, I have to say. The lower receiver is very solid. You can barely flex it, but of course on the upper side you can flex it a bit, but it is very solid. Right, so the gearbox itself. Now as you can see, this is the dummy bolt. It is held on by 2 screws connected to the taper plate. That's how the crappy electronic blowback system works, because it only goes back about a couple of cms. And you can see this is the preload switch. And crazy lot of wiring here and there. I'm going to open up the gearbox and show you guys how it looks like on the inside. At first I'm going to remove the mainspring. This is the mainspring. It is 1.2 spring. And this is the dummy bolt. Alright, so that is all the screw removed. Basically the top part of the 4 screw on the upper side of the gearbox is held on together by these 4 short black screw. And the lower side of the gearbox is held onto by these 5 long silver colored screw, with one being the shortest one goes to the safety mechanism down there. Here. Right, so that's pretty nice, nicely color coded, so there's not much of a confusion that can happen to mess your gearbox up. Alright, so let's open it up. Alright, so that is the gearbox butterfly splitted. Now let's see. It does have a 8mm bearing. If you intend to upgrade it, that's the one that you need, 8mm. Now, interesting, it does come shim. The gearbox comes shim. Now, how well the shim job is out of factory, I have a lot of doubt with that. But yeah, it's good to know that they come shim. It's better than nothing, I suppose. This is the preload switch. Oh, okay, that sucks. How this preload switch is installed, basically you have to install the switch onto the shelf first and then solder it on this side. So basically it means that if you have to remove the preload switch, you have to desolder it first. Right, that's one bummer. Which means that this part of the shell will have to stick with the the wiring. Alright, one down point for the gearbox. Right, other than that, everything else looks pretty standard. You have a metal trigger here. Pretty standard metal gear, 18:1 ratio metal gears. Right, looks pretty standard stuff there. This is the cylinder assembly. There is the, oops. Now this is the taper plate. The taper plate looks a bit unusual. The hook or the fin here doesn't look like the one you can find on the LDT or the Gen 8 and stuff. It does look a bit proprietary. Now I'm not sure how if you can actually install LDT or the FV3 taper plate into the ARP9 and see if it works. If you guys actually did that, let me know in the comment sections. I would like to know. The nozzle looks non-standard, looks a bit proprietary. This is the cylinder head. Come padded, so yep, looks a bit non-standard. Might be proprietary, I'm not sure. This is cylinder itself. It is a 50% potted cylinder, because it has a crazy short inner barrel. So if you going to upgrade the inner barrel with a longer one, you might want to consider upgrading the cylinder to a non-potted one, or higher percentage one. And this is the cylinder itself. Now the last teeth is metal, but the rest is nylon. So the first thing that you want to upgrade on your ARP9 is probably this part, because nylon does not bode well with metal gears. So yeah, definitely consider to upgrade your piston when you open up the gearbox, because the piston does look pretty standard. Alright, on to the gearbox itself. What I was really interested to know was the electronic trigger unit. Now, it is an electronic trigger, and it has some connectors here. So the connectors, of course, leads to the chipboard here. Now, I'm not sure whether they are going to make a replacement of the wiring kit for the ARP9, but if they do, it is going to be a very easy job to replace the trigger or the entire wiring unit, because it is using the connector or socket type. So to change the wiring, you just need to unplug this, replace a new one, and plug it in back, and it should work like charm. So yeah, I'm not going to remove this part, so maybe another time when I have to replace it, yeah. But so far, I think the gearbox, the internal of the gearbox looks very clean. The wirings are not crazily, stuff here and there. It is very neatly arranged. So yeah, that is for the gearbox itself. Certain stuff like the cylinder head and the piston, or the nozzle looks proprietary. The taper plate looks proprietary, and the rest looks pretty standard. The piston is standard, the gears are standard. The trigger looks pretty standard type as well. I don't want to remove it, I don't want to deal with the spring here. So right, so that's pretty much it. If you have any questions that you want to ask or to know about the ARP9 from the Little Moon or the XYL, drop your questions on the comment sections. I'll get to you as soon as possible. But yes, so far the gearbox looks pretty good to me. The electronic hasn't burned out yet. I haven't heard any complaint about it yet, but this is the true, the true test for the Little Moon or the XYL. If this electronic actually lasts, then yeah, the XYL ARP9 will worth the price tag. Right? So this has been the disassembly of the ARP9. If you have any questions, leave it in your comment sections. I'll get to you as soon as possible. Alright, thank you for watching. See you guys soon.